And because I'm recording this after the fact, I'm having to go back to my old files and kind of pull up areas where I kind of had the blockout happening. So the blockout is the very first thing on that image breakdown I have. So you're going to see form refiners here. We're not there yet. Here's the quick blockout. And all I have on this is clay brush, clay buildup, standard, and smooth, which is basically all we're going to be using to block this boot out. So if you've gone through the Intro to ZBrush Part 1, I'm going to turn perspective off here temporarily. You can hit P. You're going to know how to do this already. Now, while I'm going through this older stuff, keep in mind this is just purely just sketching. This is a 3D sketch. It's kind of in its ugly baby phase. There's not a whole lot of admirable or redeemable qualities about it. I like it because I made it, but I wouldn't necessarily be showing this off to the world other than to kind of demo. So keep in mind that this is going to be very, very ugly as I go through. So this is the end result that we're going to end up going for. So I'm going to hide those temporarily just by having it selected and then clicking the nameplate to turn its eyeball off, and then I can click on any other subtool, and that'll go ahead and hide just the boots. So now, if I alt-tap the body here, I'm going to turn on solo, and you're going to see here's the body block out. So he's got his missing arm here, and he's got legs. Now, I knew he was going to be wearing pants, so I didn't really put a whole lot of time into those legs, as you can obviously tell. I did spend a little bit more time here in the upper body to kind of block some things out, some mechanical stuff that I was thinking about. But for the most part, the legs are purely block-out placeholder here. These are just to keep me honest as I'm adding pants, as I'm adding knee pads and boots and stuff. I just want to make sure it actually goes over his actual body so I'm not digging in too much and then making boots that are going to look weird because it's cutting into his flesh that I didn't put there. So use this as your blockout. It doesn't have to be detailed, as you can tell. And now we're going to add some boots to this guy. So one easy way to make boots is just with Dynamesh. If you want to use Shadow Box, you can certainly do that and go make a mesh around this. But what I'm going to do is just duplicate this body off. So subtool duplicate. I'm going to grab that duplicate here. I'm in solo mode already. So if I go out of solo mode, you're going to see everything. I'm in solo mode with this selected. I'm going to go ahead and just mask pin where I want my boots to go. And actually, I'm going to hold that control. I'm going to go to mask lasso. And I'm just going to mask out where my boot shape is going to end up being. I'm going to turn on polyframe here. I'm going to hit Control W, and that's going to group mask clear mask, which is under your polygroup options. Hold down Control Shift, tap that polygroup, and then I'm just going to go to delete hidden, which for you will be under geometry, modify topology, delete hidden. Now, like I said before, I'm assuming you've gone through ZBrush, Intro to ZBrush Part 1 at least, Part 2 and 3 preferably, so I'm not going to go into detail into all this stuff over here. If you want to know where the stuff is, I'll tell you once, and then I'm going to use my custom menu. So, geometry, modify topology, delete hidden, somewhere in there is where the delete hidden is. So now I've got a boot shape. While I'm working, I'm going to be sculpting on the outside, sculpting on the inside. I've got my reference up, so I tend to keep both boots around just so I can kind of go left to right here. If one's getting in your way, just turn off X, go out of X symmetry here, hold down Control Shift, hold down Alt, and then you can just get rid of one, and then again just do another delete hidden, and then you've got one boot. So now, because I started with a body block out here, and if I go into my Dynamesh properties, which for you will be under Geometry, Dynamesh, I've already Dynameshed this guy. He already has Dynamesh properties. Because I made a duplicate and used that as my base, I inherited those Dynamesh properties. So all I have to do is Control Drag, and he's already a Dynamesh. If you didn't start with a body block out, say for instance you've got a body here, and you just wanted to maybe insert a cylinder, go out of solo mode here, hit W, select the cylinder, and then I'm just going to transpose the cylinder down here. This thing won't have any Dynamesh properties because you appended it, so it doesn't have any inclination that you wanted to use this as a Dynamesh. If you do, just go down to Geometry, Dynamesh, turn off Blur, turn off Project, choose your resolution, Control Drag, hit Dynamesh, and now it'll be a Dynamesh. I'm going to go ahead and go Smooth Stronger if I'm dealing with something with higher polygon counts, which for you will be under your comma key, brush, and I'm going to choose the smooth menu, and there's a smooth stronger in here you can choose that will go ahead and load up smooth stronger for your smooth. That'll just make your smooth brush a little bit stronger. If you don't want it quite that strong, hold down Shift and then drop that Z intensity down. Then you won't be smoothing as strong. So now you can go through here. I'm going to turn on transparent and ghost. We can turn ghost off. If you want to have, if you turn ghost on, you can actually move around objects within other objects. It'll allow you to select through. We don't really need that. So we can actually hold down Control Shift. I'm going to grab my clip curve, and I'm going to Control Shift and then Alt Tap again to get that curve, or I can Control Shift drag and then Alt tap twice to do a sharp curve, and I can just start making a boot shape like this if I want to. So now you've seen me go from a base model to appending a primitive if you want to, and just kind of sculpting it down from there. Now you may see me in other videos doing a mask of like what we did with the boot here, and then Z-remeshing that to get a nice mesh, like for shirt and pants and stuff. The reason I'm not doing it here is because I really don't care how nice the quads are right now. I know I'm going to be pulling this thing around an awful lot, so topology is secondary to my concerns right now. So I'm going to turn off solo, I'm sorry. Grab this other blockout mesh that we did, go ahead and delete that. And I'm going to go back to this one. That one. So now what I'm going to do is just go into my geometry deformations. So way down here, you're going to see deformations, and I can just go ahead and use this inflate to go ahead and inflate this up around his foot, and then control drag to keep dynameshing. So every time I control drag in the document, I re-dynamesh. So any changes I make, I control drag, and it'll go ahead and reapply new topology to my object here. So at this point, all I'm going to be doing, I can turn transparency off, is using my clay brush, my standard brush, my smooth brush to go ahead and just kind of start blocking out how this boot's going to look. So one important thing for the boot is your sole down here. So what I'm going to do is take my mask pin, hold down control, grab your mask pin, and then control drag from anywhere in your screen just to mask the bottom of the foot here. Control tap to invert that mask. Hit W to go in and transpose. I'm going to tap on my boot towards the bottom and then hold down shift, and that's just going to snap that straight down. And I'm going to hit hold down shift and grab this bottom one. I'm just going to pull it up, and that's going to just move all of those verts into a straight line. Now his foot is underneath there, so if I alt tap that one and go into solo mode here, you're going to see that's his body in there that's showing through, so that's fine. Because what I'm going to do is hold down shift now and just drag that down, and that'll give me a nice straight platform from the bottom of my shoe. Control drag again. Now it's all a Dynamesh brush. If you don't like your cursor flopping all around like this, I'm going to go into preferences, edit, and then turn off align cursor to surface, and that'll go ahead. It doesn't affect the functionality of your brush, it just kind of gets rid of that floppiness of that. So now I'm going to go back through here. And because we started with the foot shape, we already kind of have a boot shape going. So if I go grab some reference over here of like a boot here, I can kind of use that. So I can actually tilt my ZBrush here. And I'm just holding that shift and snapping to the bottom here. And you can kind of see, okay, this will kind of come in a little bit, and it'll go out and around, and then this way, and then it's going to kind of cup the inside of the foot there. And I can use my H polish if I want to, and just continue to, you can hold down Alt with H polish, and that's your H polish brush, so BH will grab that. And then your smooth brush. So I guess I lied. When I'm blocking out, I actually use the polish brush a little bit too. But not a whole bunch, because again, I'm just kind of blocking out the shape. And it doesn't have to be pretty. You saw the original boot, and if I just click this eyeball off with that selected and then click it on, all the subtools are going to come back, and I'll alt tap this one, go into solo mode. This is really what I used to start breaking pieces off and form refining and then rebuilding. So this is all the information I need. Obviously, if you want to spend more time to make sure that the information you have here is what you really want, then by all means continue to refine your block out as much as you want to. This is all I really needed to know the direction I was going in. So, you know, pick and choose your battles as far as how much time you're going to end up spending on each individual step in the documentation.